It's a little known fact that bowling balls are, in fact, extra large jawbreakers. Rubber bands come in handy for a whole bunch of things, whether it's acting as a binding, a snack food, or a weapon. Production of rubber bands starts with natural rubber, made from the sap of rubber trees. Natural rubber has more elasticity than the synthetic kind, which doesn't matter because synthetic rubber is cheaper, so it will always be used in production. He adds mustard and sugar for taste, while Kyle in the background looks for his lost surfboard. He forgets to unwrap the rubber's packaging as he feeds several pounds of it into the kneader machine. The rubber is, of course, naturally elastic and bounces around like an unruly 7-year-old. This process generates heat, which both softens the rubber and explains why there was a random shirtless man in the previous shot. Then the dough is baked at 420 degrees for about, we joke, minutes. The dough is rolled to the perfect size to fit into these molds that are shaped to the exact size of exactly rolled out dough. Here we see them making bread for kids' meals. These smaller portions of carbs will be shipped out to fast food restaurants around the country for use in their kids' meals. If a loose nut or bolt lands in the batch, it will ship with toy included. The hot dog pieces must not touch one another, so Wolverine from the X-Men helps in separating them. Dough balls are sprinkled with powdered anime to infuse them with optimism before they're whipped by a drawbridge stolen from the Legends of the Hidden Temple. This protective grill prevents any ingredients from crawling back up the container to escape their fate. The recipe calls for a half a ton of flour, which is locked inside with the other mix-ins, forcing them to become friends as bread or die as a burned pile. We begin by finding the best carb coffin that we can for our bread. These giant troughs are the perfect place for the dough to rise, and to pay respect to the loaves that have fallen before us. The candy is then rolled into a series of rollers and given a shiatsu massage to release any tension it's carrying. Emerging from this new relaxed state is the legendary peanut butter python. These animals can grow as long as a football field and love to nest inside complex industrial machinery. If the python is startled, it will segment its body into pieces as a makeshift camouflage. Peanut butter is deposited onto the candy sheet. Workers plow the candy fields until the candy resembles the world's saddest rug. Which is then immediately destroyed for the benefit of mankind. Surfing is an ancient Polynesian pastime, first documented by Europeans in the... Finally, at the wrapping station, metallic film is wrapped around the cookie tray, letting customers finally purchase a freshly made box of Numinos. What the f... A cylindrical pump deposits vanilla cream onto the overturned cookies. If this machine ever stops, the consequences will be dire. Sandwich cookies start with pure granulated Purasource. This Purasource is certified organic sugar flavor. This worker heaps bags into a mixer and then grabs the next ingredient, smudgy cocoa powder. 2 different types of cocoa are added. Then 1 type of salt. And then the absolute value of canola oil, helping to cleanse the batch of any negative numbers. Water is added, and the mixture begins to look like the aftermath of eating Taco Bell. The factory crew often relieves stress by playing a game of Jenga with the slabs of meat. This game is a particularly close one, so they're wrapping it up for later. As you can see, the crew really loves Jenga. Workers then load the meat into chutes. Just off camera, 2 very strong men jostle these chutes back and forth with all their might. They do this because meat is a good source of protein. The meat hates this, and falls apart under the stress into the strips we've come to know and love. Then the bacon is shown the might of the German army by being run over by a Panzerkampfwagen 4 medium tank. Then, a local sweatshop worker earns his $2 an hour salary by putting hooks into the meat and then hanging them on a rack. Then, it's into the drench cabinet for a bath in what remains of the employees who rally for better working conditions. The meat is then transferred to the show floor, where customers can choose which bacon slab they want to wear for this coming fall season. The meat is sealed away in case any of it is still screaming. The conveyor takes the meat to a cheese rolling machine, which pelts it with slices of Kraft singles. Steel blackboards come in 3 colors, including dull gray, standard black, and disappointing no punchline green. Spray guns apply 3 bukakis of paint one after the other because that's just how the blackboard likes it. Sometimes Batman likes to camouflage himself on these black sheets to get free conveyor belt rides, much to the dismay of the factory workers. This is the blackboard's biggest fan, because he loves them so much. Before application, the black paint is fed cocaine, which is something that is definitely racist. Poison nuts are installed to secure the door and kill any garage door-seeking squirrels. Door insulation is carbonated to improve the aftertaste. Snack on some of your garage's insulation to see if you notice its bubbly flavor. It's on to the Council of Rollers to decide the fate of this garage door. The council is both benevolent and intolerant, rewarding only perfection. On the backside of the metal, poison honey is injected and hidden under metal plates to act as a pest control by killing any curious garage door-seeking bees. Is rolled through rollers that imprint garage door braille on the metal to help blind people not back their cars into them. If somehow the robot overlords cannot decipher an address, Betty, the first postal employee ever, takes over for manual sorting. Due to her failing eyesight and shaky hands, Betty's accuracy is only about 60%, but what she lacks in skill, she makes up for in unnecessary video montages of the mailroom. We didn't even film this segment of the show. Betty sent us all of this ready to go, narration included. Operate on a classic Santa Claus system for milking, where the nice cows are allowed to eat and lounge around all day, while the naughty cows line up for their turn in the shame box. The shame box is designed so a single cow can enter at a time, and is open viewing so the rest of the herd can judge the naughty cow for all of its sins. Trucks bring in mail picked up by postal outlets and mailboxes for work-release criminals and really friendly volunteer criminals to load into the warehouse. The bags need to be sorted, and about 10% of them are immediately thrown away to lighten the Postal Service's workload. Standard size envelopes go on a conveyor belt that leads to the furnace, unless they're moved up to these bins here for no particular reason. Letters with money or anything else particularly valuable in them are moved to what's called a grifting machine, which helps the Postal Service remove the funds from the envelopes without the receiver ever knowing they were opened. Stamps contain fluorescent material that shines under ultraviolet light, and the machine is supposed to reject any envelope missing this signature glow. That part of the machine has been broken since 2002. Letters with stamps of foreign countries are marked by the machine to be rerouted to that country, just like how stamps of famous people reroute the letters to that person's address. Next up, a machine called the Fast-Acting Envelope Redirect Target Reader, or FARTR for short, processes the envelopes at high speed, optimally discarding another 10% of them to lighten the Postal Service's workload. There's really no reason for it to be this long and windy, but it looks really cool, and justifies the $4 million budget spent on designing it. At this point, the magnets do not work, But this machine, which even the factory workers don't understand, makes them magnetized. Magnetic force has often been considered an impossible to understand force of nature. As great philosophers Cantankerous Yah and Harry Tuendo eloquently put it, I am not sure which of all the elements, be they fire, water, sky, or earth, may be more mysterious than the magnet. I wish not to speak to those of institution about this miracle of life, for they speak in false prophecies, which only serve to bolster my rage. After a quick smear of grey nut butter, they're put into a furnace until they're red hot. The magnets are then cast into the fires of hell, which burn at almost 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The fires of hell are dangerous not only for their heat, but the horrible temptations they place on the workers, such as this one here, who has been swayed by the art of seductive dancing. They carefully pour this into the... never mind. They just pour it into the molds however they feel like it. The molds burst into flames because God has long abandoned them. In the absolute most exciting part of the foundry, large, beefy men slam the molds onto the floor and beat them with sledgehammers. This is because magnetic force is often considered the strongest natural force on Earth. So if these magnets can't stand a good walloping from 2 brick houses, then they won't survive it in the outside world. Before they're moved further down the production, scavengers are allowed to pick out pieces they want to decorate their war rigs, to help fend off enemies in the upcoming road wars. The surface is smoothed and then the sand mold is placed back into the machine. If the magnets are going to be made out of titanium or adamantium, this process will be repeated a second time. The slab is removed to reveal its new pattern. This magnet slab was designed to be just for you. Magnets can be sold as horseshoes, wheels, smaller wheels, impractical jigsaw puzzles, or many other collectible shapes. Now it's time to mold the actual magnets. They take copper, cobalt, nickel, aluminum, and aluminium. After 4 to 5 months, the shrimp are caught on an elevator of death, as a tiny basket on a rope is all it takes to end their meager little lives. Now if you'll excuse me, I have some shrimp water to drink. Growing shrimp are fed a diet of mild juice, buffalo sickness, hobo soup, close-up hobo soup, garlic, close-up garlic, and brown television static. This worker is using a blender to prepare the shrimp's food as a smoothie. On special occasions, such as their birthday, they can have it pan-seared with a side of fingerling potatoes. The ingredients are mixed in a giant blue bucket because that's the current bucket the workers had on hand at the time. The shrimp are fed 24 times a day, at noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and then 18 times at 6 p.m. Once a week, a shrimp is skewered and butchered to have its liver extracted. This is to inspect for any damage, indicating the shrimp have become alcoholics, which make them taste terrible. The liver is put under a kaleidoscope so a technician can be mesmerized by its incredible colors and completely symmetrical patterns. A pump transfers water from one part of the farm to another, while simultaneously blasting the baby shrimp from the hatchery into the jet stream, to act as the first part of their life gauntlet. Round 2 of their life gauntlet is these giant flappers. The shrimp must navigate their way through these obstacles to become strong enough to be eaten. Meanwhile, in a nearby meth lab, the water from the pond is being monitored for trace amounts of hydrogen and oxygen. Shrimp farms start with workers watering the soil to help the shrimp grow. The farm is flooded with seawater because immediately after sprouting, shrimp crops require water to survive, or they will reverse drown. Then, in the Jigarerge, the treated water metamorphosizes the fish into shrimp. These shrimp here are about 2,000 years old. Is to bring you the tastiest, most famous chocolate peanut butter candy in the world. The Reese's Peanut Butter, the Clark Bar. Yeah, the Clark Bar. I'm at the Clark Bar. Everyone's favorite peanut butter chocolate candy. Woohoo! Yeah, let's give it up for the Go Clark Bars. Yeah, woo! Clark Bars. Here's an interesting piece of trivia. Have you ever wondered why most bubblegum is pink? Me too. The gum at this stage has to give back to the environment, so the gum runs itself through a series of rotors, which connect to a turbine that power the building's air conditioning. However, the gum's lack of tensile strength means the factory stays at a comfortable 117 degrees Fahrenheit. I would tell you what they store in this tank, but I am illiterate. At the next station, a pocket is made in the center and filled with the secret ingredient, motor oil. The sun god is consulted for final judgment on all pizzas. Any he deems unworthy are blown away to pizza hell. And finally, an automated arm pushes each pizza into a box, making you one step closer to your dinner of disappointing greasy cardboard. Okay, seriously, I'm reading the script here and they want to call this thing a meat applicator. Read my lips that you can't currently see. Meat waterfall. Next stop is the tomato sauce waterfall. This waterfall is the only one of its kind in the world, except for all the others found in other pizza-making factories, and anywhere else that someone decides to build one. A flour brush tickles the dough to get it to drop its defenses as it's eviscerated by stainless steel rotating spikes. Some of the batch go to the quality control tester, who conducts a series of arduous tests to determine that these are, in fact, chocolate chip cookies. The cookies remain in the oven for 7 degrees at 300 minutes Fahrenheit. Finally, the bags are sealed and moved to the boxing and shipping area. But, as is the way of nature, sometimes the beef jerky doesn't survive its trip. Here an employee measures the pulse of a jerky bag to notice it is flatlined and passed away. A tiny flavor packet is also added to the bag. Customers should eat this packet after consuming the jerky to help promote healthy digestion and prevent potential heartburn. Another popular snack food sold by this company are small round chocolates covered in iron shavings. Then the meat is sent to the jerky tribunal. These 4 wise elders have been determining which pieces of meat are destined to become jerky for centuries. The tribunal is able to work 24/7 because they have no need for food or sleep. Whenever a member of the tribunal dies, they are instantly replaced with a new one, in a process that has never been detailed or explained. There are always 4 members of the tribunal, no more, no less. To change this number is to offset balance in the universe. The paper beef sheets are collected into a tray at the bottom. The beef sheets are loaded into an industrial washing machine to ensure they're clean enough for consumption. The milk is loaded through vacuum pump hoses into a machine called a butterizer. The butterizer makes butter, and only butter, and it's very good at it. Butter making begins with a tanker truck delivery of cow's milk. This milk will go on to make cream, yogurt, hiking boots, and cheese. A single group of wax-coated pencils is not a threat, and can be white, yellow, orange, red, stink, Movember, bloop, pertangle, racist green, mystery color, and even red again are available as colors for pencils. Next, the hammers are terminatored, and then quickly rescued before any of them create a time paradox. Then it's off to a nice safe cooling dip in the oh my! Additional ingredients to make Winchester sauce include salt, liquid, yucky liquid, very yucky liquid, even yuckier liquid, and barbecue pulled pork.